Hey YouTube, it's Mission15 here. This is just going to be a relatively short video of me showing on this computer that I got here. So, yeah, about 6 days ago I got this computer. I've been testing it and fiddling with it ever since. And, yeah, here's what the specifications are for it. It's an HP Pavilion Elite m9260f PC. It has an Intel Core 2 Quad, which isn't too bad for, I believe this computer came out in 2008. It's a late Vista machine. So, yeah. Anyways, it has a quad processor Q6700. It has 4 gigabytes of RAM, not too bad for 2008. It had, technically a 1 terabyte hard drive. Back then they didn't really make 1 terabyte hard drives, so what they did in this machine is they added 2 500 gig hard drives in this machine and then put them in a RAID so that the computer thought that it was one. So yeah, that's what was done with that. And actually what happened is one of those 500 gig hard drives that's in here has actually failed since then, but we still have the main one going with the recovery partition and all the good stuff on it. So this computer does work, and it has the original factory install on it, so all that's good. But one of the hard drives that was on the RAID has unfortunately failed. But anyways, moving on, it has a Blu-ray player for 2008. That's pretty incredible actually, because Blu-rays were pretty new back then. So for a computer to actually have a Blu-ray drive and not just a standard, DVD RW one for that time period, that's pretty damn good that it had a Blu-ray player in it. So, yeah, moving on, it also has an Nvidia Geforce 8600 GT graphics card, which, once again, that also isn't too bad for the time. So, yeah, then apparently it also has a wireless card in it, which I couldn't get it to work. I don't know if that went bad as well. This computer was very dusty inside. It was completely clogged, basically. The heatsink had basically rock-hard dust in all the grooves. It took a lot to clean this thing, and it's still not perfect. So, yeah, this thing was being used heavenly. And then, as you can see right here, it just says the version of Windows it came with, which is Windows Vista Home Premium 64-bit edition with Service Pack 1, which has been updated to Service Pack 2 since then. Now, Windows Vista gets a lot of hate, and I mean a lot of hate. People think it's a shitty operating system when it's really not. I'd prefer Windows Vista over Windows 10 and Windows 8.1 any day, because Windows Vista to me is a beautiful Windows 7. It looks better to me than Windows 7 does, and it's basically the building ground for Windows 7. It's what made Windows 7, and Windows 7 is a great operating system. The only reason why Windows Vista was known to suck to people is because it was a huge transition from Windows XP, and it was hard for people to understand. And also, the Service Pack 1 had a lot of problems getting drivers for printers and stuff, so that was making a lot of people very angry. But Windows Vista is not a bad operating system. It still holds up today, even though programs are not supporting it as much as they used to. So it still has life, and it's not a bad operating system. You could still use it today, no problem. Anyways, moving on to the front of the computer. Actually, I didn't really show you what it says here. It just talks about the power button, conveniently located on the top, the 15-in-1 card reader, which I'm going to show you in a second, the HP Pocket Media Bay, which is right there where you can put an expansion card, the HP Easy Backup button, which allows you to push this little button right here that you can easily have a guide of how to use the recovery partition to factory, reboot your computer and all that good stuff just by pushing that button. So what else do we have here? We got HP Personal Media Drive Bay, which is located behind the faceplate, I guess, which would be right here. So there you go. And we got a built-in TV tuner, which it looks like it even came with a remote. So one thing I've noticed with HP is that they loved giving remotes with their computers back in the day, when computers actually were built well and not like the shitty computers that you buy today that you drop once and they fucking break into pieces because they're cheap plastic. Back then, computers actually were built a lot better, and they are still well usable computers today, because you can actually upgrade older computers. They don't have all the shit soldered onto the motherboard, so you can't do anything. These actually have sockets on them, so you can actually continuously upgrade them throughout the years, and they never really become bad machines, even though people assume that these machines are bad just because they're old. That's not usually how it works, unless you get a really cheap machine for the time period. but any cheap machine is really not going to last you long, so you want to buy a really expensive one, and you're pretty much good for decades. Literally, this machine is a very good machine, and it's from 2008. So now let's show the front of the machine. Like it said on the side, you have the 15-in-1 card reader, and there's the IR blaster for the remote that came with this machine. I have another remote that came with an HP laptop. Right, hold on a second. Right here. And unfortunately it doesn't work, but the IR blaster light actually does activate, and you can see it light up when I do push buttons on the remote. So it does see it, but the buttons don't do anything because it's not the correct remote. So if I can get the correct TV remote with this, then that'll be really cool, because I can just watch YouTube videos with a remote basically and not have to move it at all. So yeah, there's that. Has the IR blaster and all the card slots, and then behind here, as you can see, it has Blu-ray and HD DVD player. It's a light scribe drive, as you can see right there, which is great. And this came stock with it. I thought at first that this was an upgrade because it was a Blu-ray disc. In 2008, I wouldn't expect them to give Blu-rays with computers, but this computer must have cost a lot of money brand new, because in 2008 it came with a Blu-ray disc drive. That's incredible. And if you wanted to, you could put another one right here. It has a blank that you'd pop out to put one in. There's the HP pocket drive with nothing in it, as you would expect, because it doesn't tell you that it comes with anything. And right here, here's where it starts to get even cooler. So I already showed you that HP Easy Backup button, just in case something happens to your computer, you can easily fix it. But it has the two little covers here on the faceplate. Now this one's the media drive, where you'd put that HP hard drive in if you wanted more storage, which I don't know why anybody would want to do that anyways, because you could get an external drive or any other drive really and install it for less than what they would probably charge for that. But behind this other door here that says connector ports, look what we have here. We have FireWire, we got two USB 2.0s, we got headphones, we got mic, and then it gets cooler here, we got AV-in. So this is just composite, as you can see right here. It's nothing special like component or HDMI, but this will get video into the computer, such as, you know, from like an Xbox 360, for example, or an N64 or a Super Nintendo. Anything that has component ports on it, you can plug it into this computer, and you can literally use that device with the computer turned on, and you can also record whatever you're doing on that device on the computer. So it basically has a built-in capture card, which allows you to plug anything you want into it using composite or S-video and record it to the computer. It's really cool. And the video that I've actually uploaded before this, the Rock Band 2 one, where I was playing a song, that was done on this computer. That was a test video that I purposely did from this computer to see how well the capture card works. And if you want to see how well that capture card does work, look at that Rock Band 2, I think 29 Fingers video that I uploaded right before this one, and it shows how good the quality is of the capture card that's built into this machine. So now that's the front and the side of it. Now let's look at the other side of it. We just got the insides, really, the door that's on the side. And I already told you what's in here, basically. 4 gigabytes of RAM, it's not been upgraded. And the Core 2 Quad Q700. So there's really nothing changed in here, so there's no point in me showing you what's inside of it. So let's take a look at the back, why not? So yeah, we got the 350 watt power supply, also pretty beefy for 2008 if you ask me. I was using this thing recently, so it's still hot, I've noticed. And right here is where it starts getting a bit more interesting. We have the TV tuner. So that's what the remote would have been for that came with this machine, but it would also have worked for anything really that you do on the computer. But yeah, so this has a TV tuner. What does that mean exactly? Well, exactly like how I showed you on the front of the computer, how it has the composite and S-video. You could literally screw a TV antenna to the back of the computer and get TV channels on the computer. It's basically television on the computer. So if you didn't have a TV and you only had a computer, you wouldn't need a TV because you have this. So that's a very cool thing to have in a computer. It's not very useful nowadays because, you know, TV is really quite gone to shit nowadays. Most people use internet, but anyways, if you have an antenna or something and you actually have TV stations where you live, this may be handy for you. But moving on, we have the, what's this card called? I forget what the card's called, hold on. It is an Nvidia Geforce 8600 GT right here. So it has DVI, HDMI, and S-Video once again. 2008 seems like they really had a lot of a need to put S-Video ports on computers for some reason, even though they didn't really get used. See, there's S-Video there, S-Video there, there's an S-Video on the front, but nobody ever used S-Video, so that's why you probably don't see them on computers nowadays. But yeah, they have S-Video everywhere if you need that. And then moving on to the actual motherboard ports. See, these are all cards that are plugged into the motherboard, obviously. But the actual motherboard itself, which is a Asus IPIBL-LB motherboard, has all of the audio jacks right here. It has 10100 Ethernet, 2 USB 2.0s, 2 more right below there. We have another FireWire right there, as you can see. We got the VGA. We got digital audio out and in right there. And we got the shitty PS2 ports for the keyboard and mouse that nobody ever uses anymore. So that's really all that I'm going to show with this computer right now. What I'm going to show after this is me actually booting the computer up and using it. So stay tuned for that. This is just a little example video and me showing off what I have, really. So stay prepared for the next video that I'm going to release. It'll be shortly, and I'll be actually showing me using the computer and all the features it can do, such as the capture card feature, which allows me to capture gameplay off of video game consoles, DVD players, what have you. So stay tuned for that. There'll be another video coming soon, and peace out.